Welcome back to another tutorial video of Account Tips, studying accounting made easy. If you are new to our channel, make sure to subscribe and also click the notification bell to get updated for our YouTube contents. You could also like our Facebook page named Account Tips. The link is in the description box. For today's video, we will be discussing bank reconciliation. Theoretically, bank reconciliations are done for the purpose of bringing cash balances per accounting records and per bank statements into agreement. Now, for this video, I will be presenting an Excel file that contains data. The accountant of Account Tips Corporation provided the following data in reconciling the April 30 cash and bank balance. In the table, as we can see, it contains the information that we have to look into later. Down here, there is an additional information. A transposition error was made in recording a sale and deposit in the sales journal and cash receipts journal in April. The correct amount was supposed to be 13,658, but the recorded was 16,358. The main question of our problem is, what is the adjusted cash balance on April 30? In solving this problem, we can either start with the book or bank balance because it will give us the same result either way. For my solution, I will start with the balance per bank amount and adjust this for necessary bank adjustments. As you can see in this sheet, I have already written the necessary information needed by the balance per bank and balance per book. You just have to input the amount of each section so that we could get the adjusted cash balance. We will first input the amount of balance per bank, and in order to do that, we have to go back to the problem sheet. The amount of balance per bank is 130,350 as stated in the problem. Now, we can input it in our solution. Now, we will proceed with the bank adjustments. Assessing the problem, I see the first bank adjustment is the deposits in transit. Now, these deposits in transits pertain to the deposits made but not yet credited or recorded in the depositor's bank account. Since these deposits are unrecorded by the bank, we have to adjust this in preparing for the bank reconciliation statement. Accordingly, we have to add 49,000 deposits in transit to the balance per bank amount in order to account for the unrecorded deposits. The bank balance is understated without recording these deposits. That is why the operation that we will use for this adjustment is addition. So we can also input it now in our deposit in transits. The next bank adjustment is the outstanding checks. Now this outstanding checks pertains to checks drawn and released to payees but are not yet in cash with the bank. Since these are still unrecorded by the bank but already recorded as payments in the company's books of accounts, we have to deduct this amount to the bank balance in order to balance the bank's and the book's cash and bank balances. Accordingly, we have to deduct this amount from the bank balance as of April 30, or 17,650. The bank balance is overstated without recording for these checks. That is why the operation that we will use for this adjustment is subtraction. Now we have to put it in our solution. So 17,650. The last bank adjustment for this problem is the error that was made by the bank in recording a check drawn pertaining to another company, which amounts to 54,600. since erroneously charging this check to account tips company understates the cash per bank balance. What we have to do is to add back this amount to the balance per bank. So we will input 54,600 in our bank error. 4,600. There. Now, before continuing, I have to put a negative sign in the outstanding checks to indicate that this will be deducted to the balance per bank. Now that we already accomplished the necessary adjustments for the side of the bank, we can now compute for the adjusted cash balance for the bank. Now, to compute, first we would have to put a parenthesis and then click to the balance per bank, which is 130,350. Add it to the deposits in transit of 49,000. Then close parenthesis and then add the outstanding checks, which is negative 17,650. Close it again and then add the 54,600. Then close parenthesis once again. I have to put a 2 open parentheses here to complete the equation. Now, the adjusted cash balance for the bank is 216,300. In order to check if this amount is correct, we can proceed to computing the adjusted cash balance per books and see if this will also be the amount that we will get. Like the previous computation, we will also start with the amount of the balance per books as of April 30. The amount of balance per books is 85,000. And then we would add or deduct necessary book adjustments from this amount. But first, we have to input it in our computation. 85,000. Oops. 85,000. There. The first book adjustment is the bank service charge, which is an example of a debit memo. Debit memos, like bank service charges, pertain to deductions or bank debits made by the bank to the depositor's bank account but not yet recorded by the depositor. Other debit memos include NSF, or not sufficient funds check, and payment of loans. In order to adjust for this, we have to make a corresponding deduction to the balance per books because not recording this causes an overstatement of the cash balance per books. So we would input the bank service charge, which is 2,000, in here. 2,000. So the next adjustment is the next adjustment that we have to do pertains to the note collected by the bank but Account Tips Corporation is not yet informed of. This is an example of a credit memo which pertains to additions or bank credits made by the bank to the depositor's bank account but not yet recorded by the depositor. In order to adjust for this amount, we have to make a corresponding addition to the cash balance per books in order to account for the collection. The amount that must be added must include the interest of 11,200. So, we have to make an addition for the full amount of 136,000. So, we can now input it in our solution. Right here. Notes collected. 136,000. There. The last adjustment for the books pertains to a book error which is presented in the last part of the problem, which is this one. Since there has been a transposition error in recording a sale and deposit in the sales journal and the cash receipts journal, we have to make a corresponding correcting entry for this. The correct amount must be 13,658, but what they recorded was 16,358. They switched the second and third numbers of the amount. To account for this, we must get the difference of the two amounts in order to get the amount of misstatement. So, we would deduct the correct amount, which is 13,658, minus the recorded one, which is 16,358, and this will equal to negative 2,700. This means that the recorded cash receipts is overstated by 2,700. In order to correct this, we have to deduct 2,700 from the cash balance per book in the bank reconciliation statement. So we can now input it in our solution in the book error, negative 2,700. We'd also have to put a negative sign in the bank service charge to indicate that this will be deducted in the balance per book. Okay. Now that we already have accomplished the necessary adjustments for the side of the book, we can now compute the adjusted cash balance per book. So we would start with the balance per book amounting 85,000 and add the note collected, which is 136,000. Close. Add the bank service charge, which is negative 2,000. Close again. And then add the last adjustment, which is the book error, amounting to negative 2,700. Okay. And this gives us a result of 216,300. Now that we have computed for the adjusted cash balance per book, which amounts to 216,300, that also agrees with the adjusted cash balance per bank, we can now answer the question in the problem. In answering the question in the problem, the adjusted cash balance for April 30 is 216,300. A sample bank reconciliation statement pertaining to this problem would be presented right here. That is the end of our tutorial video for bank reconciliation. How was today's content? Was it helpful? You can provide your feedback on the comment section. If you want to get accounting related learning materials, you could also like and follow our Facebook page. The link is provided in the description box. See you in our upcoming videos.